The morning sun was just rising over New York City when the sky changed forever. Amy Collins was drinking her coffee on the balcony of her apartment when she saw it. A massive shadow fell across the city like a dark cloud, but there were no clouds in the sky. She looked up and dropped her coffee cup. The ceramic shattered on the concrete floor, but Amy didn't notice. Above her, floating in the air like a mountain made of metal, was something that should not exist. The alien ship was so big that it blocked out the sun. Its surface was dark and smooth, with strange lights blinking along its edges. Amy was a news reporter for Channel 7, and her first thought was to grab her phone. She started recording as people poured out of buildings onto the streets. Everyone was pointing at the sky, their faces filled with fear and wonder. Car alarms were going off everywhere as the massive ship cast its shadow over half the city. The ship was not alone. Amy could see more shadows moving across the horizon. The alien vessels were appearing over every major city on Earth. London, Tokyo, Moscow, Los Angeles. All of them now had giant ships floating above them like metal storm clouds. Inside a hidden command center deep beneath the mountains of Colorado, Admiral Jake Morrison watched the situation unfold on dozens of screens. The facility was so secret that most people in the government didn't know it existed. The walls were lined with computers and displays showing satellite feeds from around the world. "Sir, we're counting 47 ships total," said Lieutenant Colonel Pete Johnson, his voice steady despite the historic moment. "Each one is approximately 2 miles long." They appeared simultaneously at 0800 hours Eastern Time. Morrison nodded, his weathered face calm. He had been preparing for this day for 30 years. The Admiral was one of the few people on Earth who knew that humanity had been getting ready for exactly this moment. "Have they made contact yet?" he asked. "Not yet, sir. They're just waiting." On the streets of New York, Amy Collins continued to film as panic spread through the crowd. People were running in all directions, some screaming, others just staring at the massive ship above them. Traffic had stopped completely as drivers abandoned their cars to look up at the impossible sight. Then the ship spoke. The voice came from everywhere at once. It echoed off buildings, came through car radios, and seemed to vibrate through the ground itself. The words were in English, but the accent was strange and the grammar was wrong. "People of Earth planet," the voice said, each word slow and deliberate. "We are the Zephyrian Empire. We have come to your world to claim it for our own. You will surrender to us now, or we will destroy you all. You have 24 of your hours to decide." Amy kept her phone steady, recording everything. This was the biggest story in human history, and she was right in the middle of it. Around her, the crowd had gone silent. Even the babies had stopped crying. "We know you are weak," the alien voice continued. "We have watched your world. You fight each other with small weapons. You have no ships that can reach the stars. You cannot stop us. Choose to live as our servants, or choose to die as our enemies." In the command center, Morrison listened to the alien message with no expression on his face. Behind him, dozens of military officers worked at their stations, coordinating with secret bases around the world. What the aliens didn't know was that humanity had been building something in secret for decades. "Sir," said Major Lisa Park, speaking from a hidden base on the far side of the moon, "all stations report ready. The fleet is standing by for your orders." Morrison smiled for the first time that day. "Not yet, Major. Let them think we're helpless for a while longer." The aliens demonstrated their power 1 hour after their message. They chose an old military base in the Nevada desert, a place that had been abandoned for years. The energy beam came down from the ship like a pillar of blue fire. When it stopped, there was nothing left but a crater of melted glass. Amy Collins watched the live footage on her phone, broadcasting from the roof of her apartment building. The entire world was watching as the aliens showed what would happen to any city that refused to surrender. "This is Amy Collins reporting from New York City," she said into her phone's camera. "We are witnessing what appears to be the end of human independence. The alien ships are massive. Their weapons are beyond anything we possess, and they have given us less than a day to surrender." But Amy didn't know about the secret bases hidden throughout the solar system. She didn't know about the ships that had been built using technology recovered from crashed alien vessels decades ago. She didn't know that deep in space, beyond the orbit of the moon, over 200 human warships were waiting in the darkness. President Linda Hayes appeared on television 6 hours after the aliens arrived. She stood behind her desk in the Oval Office, looking tired and defeated. Her words were carefully chosen to make the aliens believe that humanity was giving up. "My fellow Americans and citizens of the world," she said, her voice heavy with apparent resignation, "we face a threat that is beyond our ability to resist. These beings possess technology that we cannot match. I am calling for calm as we consider our limited options." What the president didn't say was that she had just activated Protocol 7, the most classified military operation in human history. Around the world, secret facilities were powering up systems that had been waiting for 30 years to be used. In the hidden lunar base, Commander Lisa Park looked out through the reinforced windows at the concealed hangar bays. Inside those bays were ships that looked like they belonged in a science fiction movie. They had energy shields, plasma weapons, and engines that could travel faster than light. Each ship had been built using a combination of recovered alien technology and human engineering. "All ships report ready for combat operations," her communications officer reported. "The fleet is fully operational and waiting for orders." Park nodded, watching Earth in the distance. The blue planet looked so peaceful from here, but she knew that alien ships were hovering over every major city. Soon, very soon, those aliens would learn that they had made a terrible mistake. The aliens had come to conquer what they thought was a primitive world. They had no idea that their previous visits to Earth had left behind the very technology that humanity would use to defeat them. As the first day of the invasion came to an end, the HFY War Commander Vexstar reviewed the intelligence reports about Earth. Everything indicated that the humans were a weak species with simple weapons and no space travel capability. The conquest would be easy, just like the 17 other worlds his empire had claimed. He had no way of knowing that in just a few hours. His invasion fleet would face the most advanced human military force in history, one that had been built specifically to destroy ships exactly like his. The second day of the alien invasion began with empty streets and silent cities. Amy Collins stood on her apartment balcony, filming the massive alien ship that still floated above New York. The shadow it cast made the morning feel like evening. She could see similar ships hanging over other cities in the distance. "This is Amy Collins with another update," she said to her phone camera. "It has been 18 hours since the aliens arrived. The government has ordered all civilians to stay indoors while they consider the alien demands. Military forces around the world appear to be standing down." What Amy couldn't see was the incredible activity happening in secret locations across the solar system. Far from Earth, beyond the moon where no telescope could spot them, dozens of hidden bases were humming with preparation. Commander Lisa Park walked through the corridors of Lunar Base 7, one of 12 secret installations built over the past 30 years. The base was carved deep into an asteroid, completely invisible from the outside. Through the thick windows of the command center, she could see the hangar bays where humanity's secret fleet waited. "Status report," she said to her operations officer. "All ships are powered and ready, Commander," Lieutenant Bob Smith replied. "Captain Ron Baker reports that Strike Group Alpha is standing by. Captain Mary Stone's stealth squadron has completed final weapons checks. Park nodded and opened a secure communication channel to Earth. Admiral Morrison's face appeared on the screen, transmitted through quantum communication systems that the aliens couldn't detect or intercept. Admiral, Luna Base 7 reports full readiness, Park said. We have 52 combat vessels ready for immediate deployment. Excellent, Commander, Morrison replied from his underground command center. How are the crews holding up? They're eager to begin, sir. We've been training for this day for years. Morrison smiled grimly. So have we all. Hold position until I give the word. The secret began in 1947, when an alien scout ship crashed in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico. The military recovered not just wreckage, but intact technology that was decades ahead of anything humans possessed. Instead of announcing the discovery, the government created Project Horizon, the most classified program in history. Dr. Alan White had been working on Project Horizon for 15 years. He stood in his laboratory beneath the Nevada desert, surrounded by machines that looked like they belonged in the distant future. These were the fruits of decades spent studying alien technology and improving upon it. The aliens made one crucial mistake. Dr. White explained to a group of military officers gathered around a holographic display. They assumed we would simply copy their designs. Instead, we analyzed them, understood them, and made them better. The hologram showed a sleek human warship next to a bulky alien vessel. The human ship was smaller, but packed with more advanced systems. Our ships are faster, more maneuverable, and better armed than anything in the Zephyrian fleet, Dr. White continued. We took their plasma weapons and increased the power output by 40%. We took their shields and made them more efficient. We took their engines and made them twice as fast. Captain Ron Baker stood on the bridge of the USS Independence, flagship of Strike Group Alpha. The ship hung motionless in space, its cloaking system hiding it from all sensors. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. These men and women had trained their entire careers for this moment. Sir, we're receiving new intelligence from Earth surveillance, his communications officer reported. The alien fleet consists of 47 heavy cruisers and approximately 200 fighter craft. They're maintaining standard invasion formation. Baker studied the tactical display. The alien ships were spread out over Earth's major population centers, exactly as predicted. They're following the same pattern they used on 17 other worlds, he said. Overwhelming show of force, demand surrender, then systematic destruction if refused. Yes, sir. But those other worlds didn't have advance warning. And they didn't have 30 years to prepare. On Earth, President Hayes met with her closest advisors in the secure bunker beneath the White House. The room was filled with screens showing the alien ships hanging over cities around the world. To anyone watching, it looked like humanity was preparing to surrender. How long until our fleet is in position? The president asked. General Carl Ross, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, checked his tablet. All groups report ready, Madam President. Admiral Morrison has 212 ships standing by. They're positioned in a three-dimensional sphere around the alien fleet. The aliens have no idea we're there? None whatsoever. Our cloaking technology is based on their own systems, but we've improved it significantly. To their sensors, we're invisible. Captain Mary Stone commanded the stealth destroyer squadron from her ship, the USS Shadow. Her 12 vessels were the most advanced in the human fleet, designed specifically for surprise attacks. They hung in space like invisible daggers, ready to strike at the heart of the alien formation. All stealth ships report ready, her tactical officer whispered, as if speaking too loudly might give away their position. We're in perfect attack formation. Excellent. Remember, we strike fast and hard. The aliens won't know what hit them. War Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian Empire stood on the bridge of his flagship, reviewing reports from his fleet. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The humans showed no signs of resistance, and their primitive technology posed no threat to his ships. Status of the human military forces? He asked his intelligence officer. All major installations appear to be in defensive positions only, Commander. We detect no movement of their space assets. Because they have no space assets worth mentioning, Vextar said with amusement. Their most advanced vessels barely reach their own moon. This will be the easiest conquest in the history of the Empire. What Vextar didn't know was that human satellites had been tracking every ship in his fleet since the moment they arrived. Advanced sensors, far superior to anything the aliens possessed, were feeding detailed information to the hidden human fleet dot in the Lunar Command Center. Park watched the countdown timer on her main screen. 3 hours remained until the alien deadline. In 3 hours, the Zephyrians expected humanity to surrender unconditionally. Commander, her communications officer called out, we're receiving the final authorization codes from Admiral Morrison. Park took a deep breath. This was the moment that would determine the future of human civilization. And their Project Horizon would succeed, or Earth would fall to alien conquest. Signal all ships, she ordered. Prepare for Operation Liberation. In exactly 3 hours, we show these aliens what humanity is really capable of. Across the solar system, over 200 human warships received the message. Crews that had trained for decades checked their weapons one final time. The aliens thought they were conquering a helpless world. They were about to discover that Earth had been preparing for this battle for 30 years. The secret fleet was ready to reveal itself, and the real war was about to begin. 3 hours before the alien deadline, Admiral Morrison stood in his command center and spoke the words that would change everything. All units, this is command. Execute Operation Liberation. I repeat, execute Operation Liberation. Across the solar system, over 200 human warships received the signal. In the hidden bases beyond the moon, massive hangar doors opened for the first time in decades. Ships that had been waiting in darkness for 30 years powered up their engines and prepared to reveal themselves to the Galaxy. Commander Lisa Park watched from Luna Base 7 as her fleet emerged from concealment. The USS Independence led the way, followed by dozens of sleek warships that looked nothing like the crude rockets the aliens expected Earth to possess. Each ship glowed with the blue light of advanced plasma engines. All ships report ready for combat, her operations officer announced. Strike Group Alpha is moving into position. War Commander Vextar was reviewing surrender terms on his flagship when alarms began screaming throughout the bridge. His tactical officer stared at his displays in confusion and terror. Commander, we have contacts, the officer reported, his voice shaking. Multiple contacts appearing on all sensors. They're everywhere. What kind of contacts? Vextar demanded, rushing to the tactical station. Ships, sir. Unknown class vessels. They're surrounding our entire fleet. On the display, red dots appeared like stars in the night. First a few, then dozens, then over 200 distinct contacts. The human fleet was decloaking all around the Zephyrian invasion force, emerging from invisibility like ghosts becoming solid. Captain Ron Baker stood on the bridge of the USS Independence as his ship dropped its cloaking field. Around him, the rest of Strike Group Alpha materialized in space, their hulls gleaming with advanced armor and weapon systems. Open a channel to the alien fleet, Baker ordered. His communications officer nodded. Channel open, sir. Baker's voice echoed across space, broadcast on all frequencies the aliens were monitoring. Attention Zephyrian Fleet. This is Captain Baker of the Terran Space Command. You are surrounded and outgunned. Withdraw from Earth space immediately, or face the consequences. Vextar stared at the human ship on his main screen. It was smaller than his flagship, but looked far more advanced. The hull design was sleek and deadly, and he could see weapon ports that glowed with unknown energy. "Impossible," he whispered. "These humans have no space technology." "Sir, we're being hailed by multiple human vessels," his communications officer reported. "They're demanding our immediate withdrawal." "How many ships do they have?" "Over 200 confirmed contacts, Commander. They have us completely surrounded." Amy Collins stood on her apartment balcony, still filming with her phone, when the sky erupted in light. Streaks of energy began flashing overhead as the space battle commenced. She could see explosions in the darkness above, like deadly fireworks celebrating humanity's defiance. "This is incredible," she said into her camera, her voice filled with excitement and disbelief. "Something is fighting the aliens up there. There are human ships in space, ships we never knew existed." The first shots of the battle came from Captain Mary Stone's stealth squadron. Her 12 destroyers appeared suddenly around a Zephyrian cruiser, their plasma cannons firing in perfect coordination. The alien ship's shields flared and collapsed under the concentrated assault. "Direct hit," Stone's weapons officer reported. "Enemy shields are down. Continue firing. Take that ship out of action." The human plasma cannons improved far beyond. Their alien originals tore through the cruiser's armor plating. Within minutes, the first Zephyrian ship was drifting powerless in space, its weapons systems destroyed. Vextar watched in horror as his carefully planned invasion turned into a nightmare. The human ships moved with precision and speed that his vessels couldn't match. They attacked in coordinated groups, striking from multiple angles and vanishing before his gunners could return fire. "All ships, engage the humans," he ordered desperately. "Destroy them all." But the Zephyrian fleet was designed for attacking defenseless planets, not fighting an advanced space navy. Their massive ships were powerful but slow, built to intimidate rather than engage in complex battle maneuvers. Captain Baker led Strike Group Alpha in a devastating assault on the alien formation's center. His ships moved in perfect formation, their enhanced engines allowing them to dance around the slower alien vessels while pouring fire into their targets. "Target the command ship," Baker ordered. "All guns, concentrate fire on their flagship." The USS Independence and 6 other human warships focused their weapons on Vextar's massive vessel. The alien commander watched helplessly as plasma bolts hammered his shields, each impact weakening his defenses further. Dr. Alan White monitored the battle from his underground laboratory, watching readouts that showed how his improved technology was performing. The human ships were exceeding all expectations. Their enhanced shields were deflecting alien weapons, while their upgraded plasma cannons cut through enemy defenses like they were made of paper. "Incredible," he said to his assistants. "Our modifications are proving even more effective than predicted. The aliens' own technology, perfected by human engineering, is destroying them." On Earth, people emerged from their homes and shelters to witness the impossible sight above them. The massive alien ships that had seemed invincible just hours before were now under attack by a human fleet that nobody knew existed. President Hayes addressed the nation from the White House, finally able to reveal the truth that had been hidden for 30 years. "My fellow citizens," she said, "what you are witnessing is the result of decades of preparation. Since 1947, when we first recovered alien technology, we have been building a defense against this very threat. Our secret space fleet is now engaged in protecting our world." Commander Park watched the battle unfold from her lunar base, coordinating attacks and directing reinforcements where needed. The human fleet was performing flawlessly, each ship and crew executing maneuvers they had practiced countless times in secret. "Sir, the aliens are trying to retreat," her tactical officer reported. "Several ships are breaking formation and heading for the outer system." "Not today," Park replied grimly. Signal all units. No alien ship leaves this system. We end this threat here and now. Within 2 hours of the counterattack beginning, the tide of battle had turned completely. The Zephyrian invasion fleet, which had arrived expecting easy conquest, was being systematically destroyed by a human force they never suspected existed. Vexstar stood on his damaged bridge, watching his empire's forces fall to human weapons. The species he had dismissed as primitive was proving to be the most dangerous enemy the Zephyrian Empire had ever faced. The battle that was supposed to end in humanity's surrender was becoming the aliens' worst defeat in centuries. 2 hours into the battle, the Zephyrian invasion fleet was falling apart. War Commander Vexstar stood on his damaged bridge, watching his ships get destroyed one by one. Sparks flew from broken control panels around him, and half his crew was either dead or wounded. "Sir, we've lost 17 ships," his tactical officer reported, blood running down his face from a head wound. "The humans are destroying us faster than we can fight back." Vexstar couldn't believe what was happening. His empire had conquered 17 worlds using the same strategy. Arrive with overwhelming force, demand surrender, then crush any resistance with superior technology. It had never failed before, but these humans were different. They didn't just resist. They were winning. Captain Ron Baker led his strike group at another devastating attack on the alien formation. The USS Independence moved through space like a deadly dancer, avoiding enemy fire while delivering precise shots that crippled alien ships. "Target acquired," his weapons officer announced. Zephyrian heavy cruiser bearing 27 Mark IV. "Fire all guns," Baker commanded. The human plasma cannons lit up space with brilliant blue energy. The enhanced weapons, far superior to their alien originals, punched through the enemy ship's shields and armor. The Zephyrian cruiser exploded. In a ball of fire that could be seen from Earth. Captain Mary Stone's stealth squadron struck like invisible serpents throughout the alien fleet. Her ships would appear suddenly, destroy their target, and vanish again before the aliens could respond. The Zephyrians had no defense against tactics they had never encountered. "Stealth Group Beta, this is Stone," she said over the radio. "We're moving to intercept the aliens trying to escape toward Jupiter. Don't let any of them get away." "Copy that, Captain." "We have them on sensors." From Luna Base 7, Commander Lisa Park coordinated the entire battle. Holographic displays around her showed every ship in both fleets, with red dots marking alien vessels and blue dots showing human forces. "Admiral Morrison, this is Park," she said over the quantum communication. "Link, the alien fleet is in full retreat. We're pursuing on all vectors." Morrison's voice came back immediately. "Excellent work, Commander. Make sure none of them escape to warn their empire." What the aliens didn't know was that the human fleet had been designed specifically to fight Zephyrian ships. Every weapon, every tactic, every system had been built to counter the alien technology that humanity had been studying for 30 years. Captain Helen Ross commanded the flagship USS Defender as it closed in on the alien command ship. Her vessel was the most advanced in the human fleet, packed with experimental weapons that Dr. White's team had developed. "Sir, we're in range of the enemy flagship," her tactical officer reported. "Begin the boarding operation," Ross ordered. From the USS Defender's hangar bay, dozens of small attack craft launched toward the Zephyrian flagship. These weren't ordinary fighters. They were boarding pods filled with human Marines wearing advanced combat armor. Marine Colonel Susan Clark led the assault team as they blasted through the alien ship's hull. The humans wore powered armor that made them stronger and faster than any Zephyrian warrior. Their weapons were designed to work in the vacuum of space and the alien ship's atmosphere. "Go, go, go," Clark shouted as her Marines poured through the breach. "Secure the command center. Take prisoners if possible." The Zephyrian crew fought desperately, but they were no match for human Marines in advanced combat suits. The humans moved through the ship's corridors like unstoppable machines, their enhanced armor deflecting alien weapons, while their guns cut down anyone who resisted. Vextar tried to destroy his ship's computer systems before the humans could capture them. But it was too late. Marine squads burst onto his bridge from 3 different directions, their weapons trained on him and his surviving crew. "Don't move," Colonel Clark ordered in the Zephyrian language, which human computers had learned to translate. "Surrender now, and you will live." Vextar looked around his ruined bridge. Half his crew was dead, and the rest were wounded or terrified. His mighty invasion fleet was being destroyed by a species he had thought was primitive. How? He asked. In broken English, "How do you have ships like these?" Clark removed her helmet, revealing a human face that showed no mercy. "We've been waiting for you for 30 years. Every time you visited our world, every ship you crashed, every piece of technology you left behind made us stronger." On Earth, Amy Collins continued broadcasting the battle to the world. A massive alien ship above New York was now burning and falling toward the ocean. Similar scenes were playing out over every major city as the invasion fleet died in the sky. "This is Amy Collins with an incredible update," she said into her camera. "The alien invasion has been completely defeated. Human ships that we never knew existed have destroyed the entire enemy fleet in less than 4 hours." Dr. White watched the battle's conclusion from his laboratory, analyzing data from every human ship. The technology his team had developed was performing beyond their wildest dreams. The aliens' own weapons, improved by human engineering, had become their destruction. "Remarkable," he said to his assistants. "We didn't just copy their technology. We perfected it. Our ships are faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything the Zephyrian Empire possesses." President Hayes appeared on television again, this time with a very different message than her apparent surrender speech the day before. "My fellow Americans and citizens of the world," she said, standing tall and proud, "I can now reveal that what appeared to be our darkest hour was actually our moment of greatest triumph. For 30 years, since we first recovered alien technology, we have been preparing for this day." The President continued her historic address. "Project Horizon, our secret space program, has given humanity the most advanced fleet in the galaxy. We are no longer a planet that lives in fear of alien invasion. We are now a spacefaring civilization capable of defending ourselves and others." Admiral Morrison received surrender signals from the few remaining alien ships. In less than 4 hours, humanity had not only defeated the invasion, but captured most of the alien fleet intact. The tables had turned completely. "All units, this is Morrison," he broadcast to the human fleet. "Accept all surrenders. Secure all alien vessels and technology. Today, we have won more than a battle. We have won our freedom and our future among the stars." War Commander Vextar sat in a human detention cell, his hands bound with restraints he couldn't break. Through the small window, he could see human ships salvaging his fleet. The species that was supposed to become slaves had instead become masters. The invasion that was meant to take days had ended in hours. The Zephyrian Empire's greatest fleet had become humanity's greatest prize. And Earth was no longer a target for conquest, that it was now a power that other worlds would look to for protection. 1 week after the battle, Earth was a completely different world. The secret was out, and humanity was no longer alone in the universe. More importantly, they were no longer afraid. Admiral Morrison stood in the hangar bay of the captured Zephyrian flagship, watching human engineers examine alien technology. The massive ship was now under human control, adding to Earth's growing space fleet. "What have we learned from their computers?" Morrison asked Dr. White, who was studying holographic displays showing star maps and alien data. "Everything, Admiral," Dr. White replied with excitement. "We now know the location of every Zephyrian colony, every military base, and every conquered world." They kept detailed records of their entire empire. The star map showed dozens of solar systems connected by travel routes. Some were marked as Zephyrian colonies, others as conquered worlds where alien species lived under Zephyrian rule. "How many species are under their control?" Morrison asked. "At least 12 different intelligent races, sir. All of them were conquered the same way they tried to conquer us. Overwhelming force against primitive civilizations." Captain Helen Ross led a team of investigators through the alien ship's prison sections. What they found there changed everything humanity thought about the Zephyrian Empire. The cells contained members of other alien species, all of them slaves taken from conquered worlds. "Admiral," Ross reported over the radio, "we found prisoners from at least 6 different species. They've been slaves for years, some for decades." One of the prisoners, a being that looked like a tall, thin human with blue skin, spoke to Ross in broken English that the ship's computers had taught him. "You are the humans?" The alien asked, hope filling his large, dark eyes. "You defeated the Zephyrians?" "Yes," Ross replied. "You're free now. All of you are free." The alien fell to his knees, tears running down his blue face. "My people fought. No one could defeat them. They destroyed our cities, took our children, made us slaves. But you stopped them." War Commander Vextar sat in his cell on Earth, being questioned by human intelligence officers. What he told them revealed the true scope of the Zephyrian Empire and its weaknesses. "Your empire has 17 conquered worlds," Colonel Tom Green said, reading from his notes. "How many ships does it have in total?" Vextar looked defeated and tired. "Perhaps 300 vessels across all our fleets. But most are older ships, not as advanced as the ones you destroyed." "And your home world?" "Zephyr Prime has maybe 50 ships for defense. The Empire never expected to face a species with technology superior to our own. The captured alien data revealed something incredible. The Zephyrian Empire was not the vast, powerful force it pretended to be. It was a medium-sized interstellar nation that survived by attacking weak, primitive worlds. They had never fought a real war against an equal opponent. President Hayes announced the formation of the Terran Space Command in a speech broadcast to the entire world. Admiral Morrison would lead humanity's first official space navy, with bases throughout the solar system. "We are no longer a planet that hides from the stars," the president declared. "We are now a spacefaring civilization, ready to take our place among the galactic community. But we will not be conquerors like the Zephyrians. We will be protectors." Captain Ron Baker was chosen to lead humanity's first interstellar expedition. His mission was to visit the conquered worlds marked on the Zephyrian star maps and offer them freedom from alien rule. The USS Independence had been upgraded with faster engines and better weapons, using technology from the captured alien ships. Baker stood on his bridge as Earth fell away behind them, heading toward their first destination. "Captain, we're approaching the Kepler 442 system," his navigator reported. "According to the alien records, this world was conquered 12 years ago. What species lives there?" The records call them the Altani. They're described as a peaceful farming civilization that was conquered without major resistance. When the Independents arrived at the alien world, they found exactly what the records described. A beautiful planet covered in farms and small cities, with a Zephyrian garrison station in orbit. The alien guards were shocked to see a human ship approaching. "Attention Zephyrian Station," Baker broadcast. "This is Captain Baker of the Terran Space Command. Your Empire's invasion fleet has been destroyed. Surrender your station and prepare to evacuate this system." The Zephyrian commander on the station couldn't believe what he was hearing. Impossible. The Earth species has no space capability. Check your communications with the home fleet. Baker replied calmly. You'll find that none of your ships are responding. Down on the planet's surface, the Altany people watched in amazement as human ships destroyed the orbital station that had controlled their world for over a decade. For the first time in 12 years, they were free. Amy Collins, the news reporter who had filmed the invasion, was now aboard the Independence as Earth's first interstellar correspondent. She broadcast the liberation of the Altany homeworld back to Earth, showing the galaxy that humanity was keeping its promise to be protectors, not conquerors. This is Amy Collins, reporting from the Altany homeworld, she said as alien families celebrated in the background. Today, humanity has freed its first alien world from Zephyrian control. The beings you see behind me have been slaves for 12 years. Now they're free, thanks to the same fleet that saved Earth. Dr. White continued studying the captured alien technology, making new discoveries every day. The combination of Zephyrian knowledge and human innovation was producing advances that would have taken centuries to develop naturally. We're not just learning their technology, he explained to a group of scientists. We're improving it faster than they ever could. Within a year, our ships will be more advanced than anything the Zephyrians ever built. Commander Lisa Park was promoted to admiral and put in charge of expanding humanity's space presence. New bases were being built throughout the solar system, and construction had begun on humanity's first starships, designed entirely with human technology. The captured alien ships are just the beginning, she told her staff. Within 5 years, we'll have a fleet of pure human design that will make the Zephyrians look primitive. 6 months after the invasion, Captain Baker returned to Earth with representatives from 4 different alien species. These beings came not as conquerors or slaves, but as ambassadors seeking alliance with a new galactic power that had defeated the Zephyrian Empire. The Fulner News. Reporter Amy Collins was appointed as Earth's first ambassador to alien species. She stood in the United Nations building, addressing representatives from a dozen worlds that had heard about humanity's victory. 6 months ago, we were a single world living in fear of alien invasion, she said to the gathered aliens and humans. Today, we are the center of a growing alliance of free worlds. We offer protection to those who need it, and friendship to those who seek it. The Zephyrian Empire, which had once seemed so powerful, began to collapse as world after world declared independence. Without their reputation for invincibility, they could no longer control their conquered territories. Vexstar, still imprisoned on Earth, watched news reports of his empire's fall. The species that was supposed to become slaves had instead become the galaxy's newest superpower, using the Zephyrians' own technology against them. How did you know we would come? He asked Colonel Green during one of their interviews. Green smiled. We didn't know when, but we knew someone would eventually try to conquer Earth, so we prepared for 30 years, using every piece of alien technology we could find. When you finally arrived, we were ready. The transformation was complete. In less than a year, humanity had gone from a hidden defensive civilization to an active galactic liberator. The secret fleet that was built to protect Earth was now freeing worlds across the galaxy. Earth was no longer a target for conquest. It was the home of the galaxy's newest protectors, and other species looked to humanity not with fear, but with hope for freedom from those who would oppress them.